All right, perimeter and area. So you guys probably are familiar with perimeter for sure. This is basically just the distance around the outer edge of a shape. So I always like to think about it as if you literally walked in the path of that shape. How far did you walk is represented by a perimeter. So distance around the outer edge of a shape. Okay, and usually when we use the term perimeter, we're talking about a polygon. So that is when I say shape. The shape, if we're talking polygons, it's just straight edges. So for example, even something like this, that would count because it's made up of all just straight edges. I don't have any curves, or it's not a circle or a heart shape or something different. So polygons are just made up of however many sides, straight edges, and they all come back together. Okay, so we're kind of using that term. But maybe we should actually, instead of shape, I'm going to say polygon. Because we have other terms, like if it's a circle, we don't call it perimeter, we call it circumference, right? So, and to find it, it's super easy because you just add up all the sides. So, for example, if this were, I don't know, 4, let's make that also 4, 3, 3, 2, and 2. So, if these were the measurements and I wanted to find the perimeter of this shape, all I have to do is add up all of those sides. Okay, so in this case, let's see, I've got 8, 10, 15, 18. Now, let's talk about units real quick. Let's assume that all of these were meters. So if you add meters with meters with meters with meters, you're just going to get more meters, right? Like if I add 2 apples and 2 apples and 3 apples, now I just have a total number of apples. I don't say apples squared or cubed or something weird like that, right? If I'm just adding all of these units, it's just going to stay the same. So the units, in this case, are going to be 18 meters, right? I don't change it. I don't make it meters squared or meters cubed or whatever it is. So I'm just going to add that the units are, units stay the same. If I don't give you the units, then you just can use the word units. So if you don't know if it's meters or inches or whatever. Okay, one thing that I do want to bring your attention to, and this you may not have seen before, it's something that we call congruence marks. So let me just show you, I'm going to make another shape. How about something like this? And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to make some marks. And let's say this is 4 and this is 3. So let me tell you about these markings that I just put on this diagram. So do you see how these two sides here only have 1 slash on them? These slashes are called congruence marks. So it's sort of like a shorthand way for us to display that 2 sides are going to be the same length without having to put the measurement on all of them. So since these both have the same number of slashes on them, that means if this one's 4, this one is also 4. But I don't have to write the number. So the same thing is happening down here at the bottom. These all have 2 slashes on them. So that means that all 3 of these are the same as each other, but they're not the same as these ones up here. That's why these have 2 slashes. Right? Because if I put 1 slash on everything, then they'd all be the same, and they're not the same. These three are going to be the same as each other, and they are all 3, right? So go ahead and, again, let's say that we're in meters. Meters are just so easy because it's one letter. Go ahead and find me the perimeter of this shape. Feel free to send it to me in the chat when you got it. I'm just going to note that these things are called congruence marks. Send me your answer as soon as you get it. Perimeter of this shape. Keep them coming. Send me those answers in the chat. Faster we get, the faster we'll be done. Yes, okay, good. So I obviously didn't get answers from everybody, but I got a good number. 17 is the correct number. Yes, yes, 17. We should be saying 17 meters, right? You do want to get in the habit of always including the unit. So using these congruence marks, I'm literally doing 4 meters plus another 4 meters. And then I have 3 of these that are all the same. 3 meters, 3 meters, and another 3 meters. So when you add all of these together, those of you that said 17 meters, you are spot on. See how the units did not change? They stayed meters. It was meters, it stayed meters. Okay, the only other thing that I want to point out with perimeter is I know on your homework you're going to have one to do where you're not given the actual lengths of any sides, they're just variables. So let me do one real quick. That's like that. I don't know, I'm just going to make up a shape. Who cares? There we go. There's my made up shape. And let's say that this shape, I'm going to give you some letters. Let's do this. All right, check this one out. So I incorporated some congruence marks, and then I also have letters. I don't have any numbers, so that's a little weird to start off with. Okay, so you know what? Let me give you a minute. Go ahead and if you want to take a guess at this, what you think the perimeter would be. You're not going to be able to give me an answer in numbers. You have no idea what it is, but you can give me an answer using variables. So in terms of A, B, and C. So your answer would have A, B, and C in it. How would you do this? It might be helpful if you, so see how this one has 1 slash? That means this one over here that also has 1 slash, though I just made another mark and it looks like 2. It should just be 1. That one's also going to be A. So I have another length of A right here. And then this one that's 2 slashes and this one that's 2 slashes, they match. So if that one's B, this one's also B. So the easiest way to do these, in my opinion, is to just go alphabetically. You don't have to, but it's always a good idea to do things alphabetically. So if I start off with A, I'm just going to count up how many A's I have. I've got 1, 2. So that means when I go to add this perimeter together, because remember, I'm just adding all the sides together. Don't I have 2 A's? You see that? I have 2 A's. Now I'm going to move on to the B's. I have 1, 2. I have 2 B's. So now I'm going to add on to that 2 B's. And then how many C's do I have? I only have the 1, so I can just add on a C at the end. And that's it. That's my answer. That's as far as I can go because I don't know what the values of A, B, and C are. So that's all I have to do. Just add up all the letters. and then leave it like that. So on your homework, there is one like this. So I'll make sure, and I'll you're going to have to type it into Delta Math, but you're going to do it exactly like that. You'll do 2a and then plus 2b plus c. And I'll just take it like that. Okay, does anybody have any questions on perimeter before we move on to area? Because that's literally all there is to it. You just got to add up all the sides. No? Everybody's all right? You sure? Okay. All right, let's talk area. I got to flip my page here. And let me just make sure that I'm not missing any major stuff. No, we're good. All right, flip. Okay, so area, as you may or may not know, is simply the space inside of a shape. Okay, so when I'm talking about area of a rectangle, let's say, you're talking about all of this region. Okay, everything that's in there. So there's certain things that are going to be sold by area. Like when you buy a carpet, it's sold by the square foot. So it doesn't necessarily matter. You know, you don't walk into a carpet store and say, I want 10 feet of carpet. They're going to be like, what are you talking about? They need a region. How wide and how long? That's what they need. So then you pay for the square foot. So you'd pay for all the space in between, not just the length of one side, because how long does the other side need to be? Who knows, right? So that's where square footage comes in. So when people talk about how many square feet their home is, you're talking about how much living space is inside of your home. I hope that makes sense. So anyway, so how do you find the area? So it turns out that for a parallelogram, it's actually super easy. We have a very simple formula. It's just A equals base times height. So B just stands for the base, and H just stands for the height. Now, who's the base and who's the height? It actually really doesn't matter. As long as those two numbers, the base and the height, are perpendicular to each other. Oh, here's Anthony. Okay, let me just update real quick that Anthony is here at 9:26. Okay, so area, space inside of a shape, base times height. Now this works for any parallelogram. So I know we haven't done our official unit on quadrilaterals, but parallelograms include rectangles, squares, rhombus. Your typical parallelogram looks like this guy, like how we draw a plane, right? All of these things are parallelograms. And the really most important thing, so big, huge star that we need to remember, if you are going to multiply base and height together, they have to be perpendicular to each other. Okay, for a rectangle and a square, that really doesn't matter because the sides are perpendicular to each other, right? So perpendicular, by the way, if you forgot what that word means, that means that they meet at 90-degree angles. So we usually put that little box in the corner to represent that this is a perfect corner, right? Perfectly 90 degrees. So it's not like the corner of a paper is a perfect corner. So That's what the word perpendicular means. So I would say that this side is perpendicular to this side. So I would typically call you the base, you the height, though if you swap them and put it the other way around, it really doesn't matter because you're just multiplying the two. Things do get a little weird though when you're looking at a parallelogram because the sides, that side and this bottom, those are not perpendicular to each other. That is not a 90-degree angle there. That's not a perfect corner, right? That's squished. So what we do for a parallelogram, this is still the base, right? But the height has to be given in here. So usually we drop down something in the inside, and that's the height. Okay, so it's not this slanted edge. You wouldn't use the slanted edge at all to find area. You would need it for the perimeter because I would add up all around the outer edge. But if I was finding the area of this shape, I would not use the slanted edge at all. Okay, so let's talk for a minute about the units and how we actually do this. So let's just start with a rectangle. So this thing is a rectangle. All four corners are 90s. Great, great, great. Let's say that this is 5 meters, and let's say this is 3 meters. So if I want to find the area, I'm finding the space inside the whole shape, all I have to do is base times height. Now again, who's the base, who's the height? It doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. I'm just taking the two sides and multiplying them together. But check this out. Watch what happens with the units. So I'm going to call 5 meters my base and 3 meters the height. Think back to algebra. What happens when you have meters times meters? What do you get? Feel free to unmute yourself and tell me. What do you get when you have meters times meters? It's anybody know? I know you know because I know I taught a whole bunch of you. Yeah, so they do end up as an exponent, right? Even if that was x, if it was x times x, isn't it x squared? But here it's m times m, that's m squared. So look what happens. You have 5 times 3, that's just 15. And then you have m times m is m squared. So for area, you will always be dealing with units squared. Okay, but that's my answer. I'm literally done right now. There's another way that you could write this answer. I'll put it right here. Sometimes people write it as 15 square meters like that. And that's totally fine. It literally does not matter. They're the exact same thing. So that's up to you. I usually do this one, but when you buy stuff in the store, if you look at the tags, they usually go this way. Whatever, same thing, same thing. Sometimes kids get confused and they think that they now need to like square the 15. That's not true at all. You're done. You just do 5 times 3. That's it. How cool. All right, let's do anytime. Oh, geez. Sometimes my the Chromebook thinks that I'm the Google Assistant, thinks I'm talking to it. I'm not. All right, let's do a parallelogram. So I'm going to try and trick you on this one. Don't get caught up. Let's make this, let's do feet this time. 2 feet, 7 feet. And let's say this in here is, you know what, can I make a tiny change? Let's make this a 3. Sorry. And I'll make this one a 2. Sorry. Okay. Find me the area of this shape, if you would. Feel free to send it to me when you got it. What's the area of this shape? You're supposed to be sending it to me in the chat, everybody. Yay! Yes, it's 14 square feet. Don't get confused by this over here. You don't need that for anything. Well, you would need it for perimeter if I was asking for perimeter, but I'm not. Base and height have to be the two that are perpendicular to each other. So it's just 7 times 2. 7 feet times 2 feet gives me 14. 7 times 2 is 14. And then I have feet times feet is feet squared, or 14 square feet. However you want to say it, it really doesn't matter. That's totally up to you. How are we doing? Okay so far? I have one more little thing to show you, and that's it. Any questions so far? Is everybody all right? We're all right? Okay. So the last thing I want to talk about is surface area. And I'm going to draw you a shape. Let's see how I want to do this. Oh, I did not do that how I wanted. Sorry, I'm trying to make like a, let's go for that. Let's say I gave you this image and I wanted the area of this whole shape. Well, this thing is not a rectangle or a parallelogram, right? It's just some weird random shape. So what I would have to do is I would have to break this shape up into smaller bits, find the area of the smaller bits, and then add it all back together. So let me give you some measurements. Let's see. How about, let me switch to red. Let's make this 1 because it's so little. Let's make this 4. I'll make this 1 as well. This will be 2. 1, 2. This is also 4. And let's say this is also 2. All right, let's say I did something like this, okay? And I gave you these measurements. First, let's talk about the perimeter. If you wanted to find the perimeter of this shape, I like to pick a corner to start at and then maybe put a little star so I know where I started. So when I get back around, I know whether I counted it or not. So if I'm going to just trace this shape all the way around and add up all the pieces, here is a very common mistake. Sometimes kids will look at a picture like this and they just add up all the numbers they see. And they say, oh, that's the perimeter. I just added up all the numbers. You're not done though, because watch this. If I want you to imagine you're actually walking these distances. So if I'm going to do perimeter, let's walk it out. 1, 4, 1, 2, 4. But look right here. There's no number there. But that doesn't mean it's 0. That's clearly some distance. Well, how am I supposed to know what it is? Well, because these are rectangular shapes, if this is a 2 down here, then this has to be a 2 up here. So if you're not given the length of a side, there should be enough information for you to find it. So either it'll be marked with congruence marks, or if they're rectangular, then you know if this side is 2, this side has to match. Okay? So this next piece right here has got to be a 2. So let me add a 2 on there. Then I've got this 2, and then the same thing happens right here. You're walking this distance, even though there's not a number there, there is. What's it really? Sorry, let me zoom out a little bit so we can see all of it. Yes, 4, exactly. If this bottom one's 4, that means this one right here also has to be 4. So, and now I'm all the way back to the star, so I know I'm back to the beginning. So now I can go ahead and I have truly added every single side. I can't tell you how many times kids mess that up. They just add, or like a rectangle, that add 2 of the sides, but not the other 2. You have to go all the way around. So let's add this together. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh, I got 20. Did you get 20? And then I didn't give you a unit, so I'll just say units. So there's perimeter. But now let's talk area. I don't have a formula for this weird shape, right? I have no idea what this would be. So what I can do is I can come in here and I can say, you know what? Why don't I break this up? If this pen would work. Oh, for the love. I'll switch to this pen. We'll try this one. Why don't I break this up and have 2 smaller rectangles? I have a rectangle here, and now I have another rectangle here. You can find the perimeter, I'm sorry, the area of each one now. If I look at just this rectangle, remember, I'm just doing a length times a width, or a base times a height, right? I'm not going all the way around, so I just have to multiply the base and the height together. So I'm just doing 1 times 4. Doesn't that get me 4? For this, right? 1 times 4 is just 4. So the area of this one is 4. If I'm finding the whole area on the inside. So now do the same thing for this one. I'm just doing the base times the height. 1 base times 1 height. What do you get? Someone tell me. What's the area of this rectangle? You can, yes, thank you. 8, right? It's 2 times 4. Base is 2, the height is 4. So this would be 8 in here for the area of this thing. So now when I want to find the area of the whole shape, I'm just going to add 4 and 8 together. So that means the area of this whole entire thing is going to be 12 units squared, or square units. Okay, and again, I got that because I added 4 and 8 together. And that is something called surface area. So that's the area of the entire surface, because I didn't have just a normal rectangular parallelogram. So we call it surface area. Does anybody have any questions right now? Are you sure? I'm a little nervous. Okay, so I am going to flip it over to the homework really quick. I think I'm done with this. And so let me see. Delta. And yes, here we are. Okay, so let me share this. All right, so again, my apologies if you see this old stuff in here. You can just click it and it makes it smaller. So I don't know. I got to figure out how to make these move away or something. I thought that when you finish an assignment, it like moves to like a different pile. But maybe that's not happening. I'm not sure. We'll figure it out. Anyway, you need to find this one. Homework 5. Delta Math 1.6 perimeter and area. That's the one we're looking for. So perimeter, I'm going to start you off with numbers. So it's going to give you this crazy shape. You're just going to add all the way around. So you might want to just make it a habit. Oh, okay, it does move. So if you finished it, you wouldn't have it all listed there then, right? That's good to know. So I was worried that you're going to have to like search for every assignment every time. All right, anyway, so pick a corner to always start at. So if you always want to start in like the bottom left corner, start there, and then you're just going to add your way all the way around. Okay, I didn't give you 2. You only have to do 3 of these because there are so many numbers to sort of add together. So you don't have to include the units. They're already there for you. So you're just going to add it up and type in your answer right there. Okay, so hopefully that's pretty straightforward. And then I gave you some to do where it's algebraic like this. So again, I would do it alphabetically. You don't have to. It'll take it either way. But if I'm going to do this one, let's see. Alphabetically, first is M. So I just scan. First of all, I make sure that every side has a letter on it. It does. Okay, good. So M, and the whole thing, there's 2 of them. So watch, everybody. Please watch, because I don't want people to come in tomorrow and say, I didn't know how to type in my answer. I'm going to tell you right now. I need 2 M's, so I literally hit 2M, and then you want the plus sign. So you're going to add, and now I go on to N's. Let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 N's. So I do 4N plus MN. There's no O's, there's no P's, there's 1Q. So you can either type in 1Q or just Q, right? Because if it's just a 1, you don't need it. QR, I have 1R. So watch, this time I'll leave off the 1. Shouldn't matter. And then S, I have just the 1 S. And that's it, right? Yes. So even if you didn't do this alphabetically, it still should take it just fine. What did I mess up? Oh my gosh. Who sees my mistake? What did I do wrong? 2M, 1, 2, 3, 4 N's, 1Q, 1R, 1S. What's wrong? I forgot P. Oh, there is a P. I didn't even see it. Ah, thank you. 1P. There we go. But I have everything else, right? Whew. Oh, yay. Thank you. So one of the nice things, though, about this is that, check this out. These are the ones that the computer generates. So even if you get it wrong, you only have to get 3 of them right for this section, and then I only have you doing 1 of the surface areas. So even if you get it wrong, you can literally just, it'll just give you another one. So it doesn't matter if it takes you 5 tries, as long as you got 3 of them right, you still get a 100. That's what I like about Delta when we get into it, because I don't expect you to be perfect at everything right away. Sometimes it takes a little practice. So as long as you maybe, oh, whoops, I got that one wrong. Let me try another one. You should eventually be able to get hundreds on your homework. Okay. So let's take a look at a surface area one. So here, this thing is a cube, right? So if it's a cube, that means all of these sides are the same. They're all going to be 10.4s all the way around. So this one's actually a little bit easier for me to do, because if they're all 10.4s, all of these squares in here are all the same. So what I can do is just find the area of 1 cube and then multiply it by, how many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 of those smaller squares. So I'll just find the area of 1 square and multiply it by 6. So in this case, I'd have 10.4 times 10.4, because that's my base times my height. And then I would multiply that answer by 6. So I get 648.96. I wonder how they want you to round. Let's see. Let's see if it takes it just as is. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So I didn't even round anything. I just typed in exactly what the calculator said. All right. But there's only one that I ask you to do it like that. And then I think there's one. What's this one like? Okay. Yeah. And then one just like we did in the notes. So find the area of 1 rectangle. This time they're not all the same, so I don't get away quite as easily with the cube, but that's okay. Find the area of this one. Find the area of this one. There's 2 of those that match. So I could just find 1 multiplied by 2. Find the area of these ones on the inside and then add them all together. Okay. Does anybody have a question? No? Are you sure?